And Timothy here, musicsoftwaretraining.com. It's time to check out Live 12.2. It's currently in beta, so if you're a beta tester, you may have access to this. If you're not, you can request access to it, so we can get into that in a bit, but I wanted to go through what the big deal is about. If you ask me, I think this is a really good upgrade, well worth your time to look into it. There's no brand new tools that I'm directly aware of, but the upgrades are really, really awesome, and they make for a completely new way to use the tools. So I thought we would start by exploring the new auto filter, which is down here, and as you can see, it looks different. All right, so let's get into what's new with auto filter. So a lot of interesting things that have been added here. Over here, we'll see that these are all the ones that we used to have here: low pass, high pass, band pass, notch, and morph. And these are the ones that have been added. The DJ filter, which basically you turn it one way and it turns into high pass filter. You turn it the other way, it turns into a low pass filter. We got a comb filter, resampling, notch and low pass, and then vowel. So we'll check all of those out. And we've also got all these different algorithms here. Definitely noticeable when you use the drive. We've got clip here, so we can do a soft clip now to keep things under control, especially with high resonance. And then over here, we have a lot of new features with the LFO. So we've got LFO rate, and we can shift that in a number of different ways: time, sync, triplet, dotted, 16th. I'm not sure if that was available in the previous version. It might have been. But this wasn't available, is all these different waveforms that the LFO can take. And then on top of that, we have the morph feature, which takes these and shifts the timing a little bit. Really interesting stuff there. Then over here, as opposed to having smooth LFOs, we could actually have it done in steps, and we could choose how many steps that we want it divided into. Really cool stuff there. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it, and I'll just kind of show you some of the basics, and we'll just go through each of these, and then we will get the drive going here, and that way we can hear the difference in some of these algorithms. And a lot of really cool stuff. When we get into this area over here, we could actually get the LFO movement in stereo, where the left and the right kind of follow each other in an interesting way. So they're both playing different times, even though they're doing the same thing. Interesting. We'll play with the drive right now. Now let's go ahead and get that res going here. This is a really fun one here. We'll play with that. So we got all the basics here. We've got the low pass, the high pass, band pass, notch, morph. So if I put this kind of towards the middle, we can get this morph going. Very underused. Here's the DJ mixer. So if we turn it one way, it becomes a low pass. The other way becomes a high pass. Comb filter. Resampling. Kind of has a frequency modulation sort of thing. If we hit morph down here, we could change the location of the notch. And then vowel. Very, very cool stuff. So next I want to jump into some of the LFO features, really cool stuff. And we're just going to use the low pass from here out. So let's get some LFO movement. So we got some movement going here. Actually, I'm going to turn this down real quick just to show you the envelope as well. I think this is a really cool feature that now you can see visually. Really cool stuff there. And then what we've got is this here, and this will actually create a left-right stereo effect. And we could also morph this. Very cool. And then we could also play with the different waveforms for the LFOs. Saw wave. Square wave. Ramp up. Really cool. And now we've got wander, which is just kind of this random movement, which is great. And then we've got sample and hold, which is a little more choppy and random. And here's something that I kind of like a lot is getting the envelope, I believe, and then getting the sample and hold at 1/16. And if I play with the resonance, we really get some interesting sounds. This top one gives the most interesting results with that sort of extra tone that's coming in. So those are the most interesting features that I found with the new auto filter. We still have sidechain features and all that sort of stuff as well. That hasn't really changed much. So that's the auto filter. And I just find there's so many different ways to use this now to get interesting results. All right, next I want to get into the resonator. The resonator's the same as it always was, but they did add the scale awareness, which is great. So once you implement that up top, you can implement it on this as well. So let me show you a before and after. So you have to go ahead and tune all of this in order to get it where you want. And then if it's changing notes, you get, let's just call it interesting results, because it's not always going to stay in key. But now that you've got the key awareness, you could have this part. And you can play with the decay here to hear the notes a little bit better. Kind of more of a blur. And you'll really notice a difference here. Let me turn this off again and just show you the difference. I've just got this kind of random part here. So before, right? And if we just have the resonator on regular, so it's just kind of doing its own thing, but once we turn this on, yeah, it's fantastic. And you can do the same thing with the spectral resonator as well. If I turn this on here, we'll just kind of do 50%. We can play with chorus, the wander, and then we could also turn on your unison. Which is super cool. We could also take input from MIDI. So we could take the direct MIDI here. If we just pop this here, we get these results. But I find the internal with the scale awareness to be more interesting to me. And then you could get into stretching. Shift. So that's the resonator. Very, very cool. This edition really changes the game on both types of resonators. So next, let's get into some of the new features of Roar. Very, very cool stuff going on here. We've got the new sidechain feature that I'll get into, the MIDI from over here, which connects to the feedback mode, which is really cool. And with filter, we've added the comb filter, resampling, and now dispersion, which is really exciting sound in Roar. Also over here in routing, we've got a new delay feature as well, which kind of gives like a slapback sort of delay, but you can change the distortion shape and filter on just the delayed part. So there's a lot of really interesting things that you can do. So I'm just going to run this on this basic kick drum just to show you how far we can take things. Let's get some drive in here. So right now we're on the delayed algorithm. Let's see, what do we want to play with? So if we turn delayed off, that's single, probably cleaner for this sound. But delayed, we can change the frequency. So the delay is like kind of a lower frequency if we want. I'm going to go into feedback here. I just really enjoy. Let's get into dispersion and turn up our feedback. And now let's jump over here into external sidechain. I'm going to click right here, and this will expand things. And I'm going to set the source to Serum. So as you can see, this is what's happening with Serum. But nothing's really being affected by the envelope yet. So let's affect the drive. That's cool. Let's find this here, feedback amount. What we can also do is go into note mode, and then we can actually bring in the notes from Serum to also affect the feedback amount. And the tone. And let's use the dispersion on this as well. We could keep the notes there, and then we can have the sidechain just affected by the kick. As you can see. And that doesn't even touch the surface of what's going on here. I was playing earlier, and I got this really interesting thing using the comb filter here and also in the feedback mode. Using the matrix here, you can really get some interesting results. And remember, we started with just this kick. So those are some of the new features in 12.2 that I find exciting. And hopefully you'll be able to make some more interesting sounds that inspire some great new tunes. So I hope this inspires you, and I'll talk to you guys soon.